Hello again, everybody. It's Jim Capuano with collegepressbox.com, and welcome to the Week 13 edition of the College Football Podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Cheez-It and PopTarts. With me, as always, my co-host is TJ Troup. TJ is a former player of the game. He's a former coach of the game. He's an expert on the game. He's a historian on the game of football. He's a lover of the game, a teacher of the game, and the author of 3 books and a weekly contributor to Pro Football Journal, which you can find online. TJ, how we doing today?
Doing really well, Jim. Looking forward to diving into the games the last week and this upcoming week.
Yes, sirree, and let's go ahead and do that. We are going to jump right in with the Cheez-It Crunch Time Play of the Week, which comes from the East Carolina-Memphis game, where Peyton Magrum caught a 31-yard touchdown toss from Caden Hauser with a minute change left to give the East Carolina Pirates the victory in this game. We're going to show a video of it, but we've got a pretty great picture right here with Peyton dialed in on the ball. But let's bring up the video here, and it's once again a short video, 25 seconds. We could show what occurred, and then you could break it down for us. That sound good, TJ?
Absolutely.
Right now, they're thinking about scoring. They're thinking about winning this game walk-off style. Hauser takes a shot to the end zone. Montgomery. Touchdown, Pirates!
Yeah, what a great throw and catch. I'm going to back this video up because break down what you saw in that play here first, TJ. Let's do that.
Well, we need to obviously start with quoting almost every week our old friend Keith Jackson. The big uglies do a real fine job, so he's got time to throw.
Yep.
And when the ball comes out of his hand and it's leaving, you see the arc of the throw, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, that looks pretty good. And there's no doubt the receiver sees that ball, and I know what he's thinking. I'm going to catch this.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive back, I don't think reacted as quickly as he should have, but he really isn't in position. So when our receiver goes up there with the classic line, chin on the ball, you look at his eyes, thumbs together. It's like you see the ball coming down, and of course, as you have the picture posted, is there any doubt this young man's going to make this catch to win the game?
Yeah, he's definitely got his thumbs together, chin on the ball, 100% focused, and you're right. Jordan, the defender, head back to the ball the whole time, and he's got a hand in there, but really, the ball was a little bit underthrown too, so it was really a gutty job by Peyton to really get himself in position to catch that ball, don't you think?
Yes, and you're absolutely right. That's a very astute point. He almost downshifts. He's not going quite as fast because he reads the ball in flight, and he goes, well, you know what I mean? I got to position myself where I can catch the ball as you're taught, highest point.
Yeah.
And he sure does.
He sure does indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Great catch. Great. It's just a great game here. Another one in the American Conference where, it may not be a power conference, but it's still a great football. It's played there week in, week out in the American, and a fine job by both Caden Hauser and Peyton Magrum to have the Cheez-It Crunch Time Play of the Week award in a thrilling win for the East Carolina Pirates, 31-27 over Memphis, who's now lost a couple games here down the stretch. What's going on with the Tigers, you think?
Oh, I don't have an answer to that. Hopefully their coach has an answer to that, and he can, get the Tigers back to growling the way they should or were earlier in the year.
Very good. Yeah, right on, TJ. That's good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. And again, congrats to East Carolina for this week's Cheez-It Crunch Time Play of the Week award winner. All right, TJ, let's talk about Week 12. Last week, you had a couple games that you were keeping your eye on. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's go and see if Touchdown Jesus was involved in the outcome in the game against Pitt. And of course, he's doing it from a distance. I mean, the Pitt Panthers, their fans, they're ready. I really expected. There is no doubt that as the game wore on, and especially Jesse Palmer, the analyst doing the game, he was absolutely superb. And I've enjoyed his work in the past, but he was really on top of his game. And he announced a couple times he almost had to hold back. You did not see the Pitt defense tackling well, pursuing to the ball well. They were out of position at times. But part of that is, and we'll get to, do we use one of the old classic cliches? Notre Dame has a lot of love because their running back is just absolutely the best running back in college. And he made a couple of moves during the game that were spine-tingling. Shall I go with that?
Uh-huh.
I mean, a man with 1,000 cliches. But let's go to the flip side.
Okay.
I'm going to leave the Pitt defense alone anymore, and I'm going to go to Notre Dame.
Okay.
When you get a scholarship to Notre Dame, it might be because you can actually play football. I mean, you look at the legendary program that's been built there. So it isn't just the starters. I have notes down here on guys coming off the bench that or part-time players in the game. They all played well. Bryce Young, I've got notes on him. He looked good at defensive end. I've got positives down there for Bowen, for Heinisch, for Gray. But what I saw, which really stood out to me, was the two safeties, Schuler and Johnson. I'm not sure there's a better pair of safeties at the college level right now than they are. Either that or they just decided to both play outstanding in the same game. But I did not see this out of them when I saw them play at the beginning of the year. But last Saturday, they both brought, again, going with the cliche, they brought their A game. There was a twist stunt by the line, and Schuler timed it perfectly. He goes jetting through the hole, and he gets a sack. He had a big hit in the game. Tay Johnson pursued well and tackle, and he had an interception for 6. And it was almost like his timing was perfection in picking the ball out and returning it. And then as the game wore on, I see this 6'4" safety, number 28, Luke Talich, come in the game. I mean, he's not even a starter. He played outstanding. So the Notre Dame defense played really, really well, and they made the Pitt offense look poor.
Yeah.
And as I said, the Pitt defense didn't play well, but shall we give love to Mr. Love?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, was he impressive.
Yeah, he sure was, Jeremiah Love. But I think you touch on something with Tay Johnson, and that was about midway through the first quarter.
Yes.
Notre Dame had just scored, and then the pick 6 that Johnson broke on the ball. I mean, he went after that ball. It wasn't like thrown right to him. He broke on the ball, beat the receiver, and just, took it to the house. And in that moment, I think the game was over. I mean, I remember watching it at that, and I thought this game, there's no way Pitt's coming back from this. They just don't. I mean, there are momentum-changing plays, and I think that particular play and the way it was executed, from flipping the script and defense just shutting down Pitt, who had not really done anything to that point anyway. Now they're down 2 touchdowns halfway through the first quarter. It's going to be a long day for the Panthers and their fans, and I think that was a game-defining play. That's just my opinion, but Just curious what you saw on that play in real time and the impact on for the
Absolutely,
Irish.
absolutely, totally agree. He's obviously an exceptional athlete. His timing, when he's breaking on the ball, it's how you teach it. He does it, and then as he scores, and as you stated, I mean, in essence, in the first quarter, the game is over. We're on the road, and the game is over. I mean, Pitt didn't play well, and if Notre Dame after that, it was like, oh yeah, the Fighting Irish are here in Pennsylvania, and we're going to show you what big time college football is today.
Yeah.
So for me, it's congrats. Oh, and I got to go to one more. The tight end for Notre Dame, Eli Raridan. First off, I'm looking at him, and he stands out because he is so big. So I had to go check to see 6'7", 251, and he's a senior. And he caught the ball, but he moves well, and he ran with the ball well after the catch. And it's like Pitt not only is struggling in the secondary, but they're dealing with, this, what do I want to say? This huge specimen just destroying them. And I'm looking at him and I said, well, he's a senior. There has to be an NFL team that should be able to at least find a spot on their roster for him.
Yeah.
He should at least get a look at.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, he had a fine game, really fine game, and was targeted 10 times. That's a lot. So they're looking for him. He caught 6 of them, but
well, it's pretty tough to miss him too. It's 6'7".
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, the Irish are looking good to make the postseason tournament. We'll see. But it's looking good. And for the Panthers, they got to regroup and see what they could do as they move forward here. But thanks, TJ, for the breakdown on that one. What else caught your eye last week?
Well, as the game got out of hand, I felt compelled to just see how bad the boys from Texas A&M were going to get beat. So when I switch over, they are down. And I mean, they are down. And Mr. Marcel Reed goes, nope. He goes, Coach TJ, we're going to show you what the Aggies are all about. And as the game wore on, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, can they legitimately do this? And guess what the answer is? Absolutely yes. So we have Indiana with a remarkable comeback, but I think Texas A&M's comeback might have been better.
Well,
and of course their fans, they're just going crazy. So, and I'm not saying that Marcel Reed is going to win the Heisman, but he sure positioned himself to at least be in the discussion. And he's throwing the ball to Concepcion, who had 7 catches for 158 yards. So I'm doing a little background. Here we go again with this is so new for me with the portal. He's a Wolfpack transfer. I mean, does anybody stay and play 4 years at the same place anymore? So he had help. Marcel Reed had help, and they were deserving of the victory.
Yeah, boy.
My final little note on the Aggies is I look back to September 13th, 2025, and the final score: Texas A&M 41, Notre Dame 40. How could we have known then that we had 2 of the best teams in the country battling it out that early in the season? And it might wind up being the game of the year. But it was so early, who knew?
Yeah, that is true. That was a great game then, and they may meet up again. Who knows? But I don't think anyone would object to a rematch of that one, right?
Well, that's where I'm headed. I'm going, wow, we've got so many good matchups going to be coming up. But that one sure stands out to me. If it possibly would work out where they could play. We don't know how, of course, we've got a ways to go yet before we get to the brackets and the pairings.
Right.
But we have sure got some dandy teams. So, my friend, let's go to the team of the week.
Sure, absolutely. Let's do that. Right on. So the team of the week this week is the Oklahoma Sooners. So staying in the Southeast Conference here from that game we just left, and the with A&M and the Sooners. A gutty win, right? Just a really gutty win is how I would describe it over the homestanding Alabama Crimson Tide, who came into this game with a 17 home game win streak, which was the nation's longest, and ranked number 4. Oklahoma's defense, 3 turnovers leading to 17 points in a 23-21 win, and a critical just the turnovers just told such a big part of the story. So for Oklahoma to prevail in a hostile environment in a game that was surprising with the way the Sooners really outclassed the Crimson Tide from a defensive standpoint. What is your takeaway on this game, and what did you see in this game here, TJ?
Well, we've twice this year, Jim, we have had teams with long home winning streaks get knocked off. What coach doesn't want to put on his resume? We went to Eugene, Oregon, and knocked off the Ducks. Indiana did that.
Right.
And how many coaches would like to put on their resume? I went to Tuscaloosa, and we kicked the Crimson Tide right out of their stadium. So we've had 2 teams with long home winning streaks get beaten this year, which is just going to make – that just tells me that we have some very tough-minded teams headed for the playoff. And you capsulized this game really well in your opening statement on it. Oklahoma didn't exactly dominate this game. And having been down that road as a coach, there are times you take the ball away from the opposition, and it's just to stem the tide. It's to stop a drive. But that was not the case here. All 3 times that Oklahoma got the ball away from Alabama, it produced points. And then when you look at the final score, do you think those points were a little bit critical to the game?
Yeah, they were.
It was, yeah. And the other part, there was a youngster playing for Oklahoma named Kip Lewis, and he really rushes the passer well. So the combination of the pass rush and the takeaways got Oklahoma a victory.
It sure did. And, Eli Bowen, who made a pick 6 for Oklahoma, was it really was their first touchdown. That interception,
right.
Was a difference in the game.
Put them ahead 10-0.
Right. Yeah. And that's, so their defense was the story of the game, and the turnovers that it caused, because in terms of yardage, it's not even close. Alabama had 406 total yards. The Sooners just 212. I mean, they were not an offensive juggernaut. It was their defense that won the game for them. And it is a team, and their field goal kicking. They made 3 field goals, right? So when you think about the 3 facets of the game, they won 2 of them. You could argue that the Crimson Tide, depending on your measurement, yards, they outgained, but they didn't outscore Oklahoma and offensively. And so, I mean, the Sooners, it's a team game, and it's appropriate that they are the PopTarts Crazy Good Team of the Week. Don't you think, TJ?
Absolutely. Simpson of Alabama throws for 326 yards. It's not like he stunk up the field. But when you're completing the passes and moving the ball down the field, the biggest thing is, okay, this is all well and good, but did you get on the scoreboard? And, of course, the answer is no, not enough to win the game. So this is the classic case of where the yards don't tell the tale. It's, in this case, as you stated, the kicking game and the takeaways.
Yep.
So congrats to Oklahoma knocking off the Crimson Tide. And, of course, tonight we'll know the rankings better. And one of the questions everybody is going to want to know, with how many losses does Alabama have? Do they still have a chance to earn their way into the tournament? I mean, that's a pretty big question to be answered tonight.
It is fascinating. The drama never ends, so it's great. Awesome.
No.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. All right, TJ, great. Well, that is good. That's a wrap for week 12. Let's turn a corner and talk about week 13. What is on your mind as we look forward to the coming week?
For me, there's only one game that piques my interest. Of course, I know that'll break the hearts of all these college coaches. That Coach TJ is not going to tune in and watch, but I'm going to go back to my roots being in California for so many years. SC plays the University of Oregon, and of course, back in the day, of course, I can remember when it was actually called the Pac-8 before it became the Pac-24, whatever it was at the end.
Yeah.
So, from the days of the Pac-8, SC and Oregon was a real strong rivalry. And SC, again, my very first question is, how good are they? So we're going to find out. I mean, but it's so funny to say, well, SC plays Oregon in a key Big Ten matchup. And then my comment to that would be, you need to put that bottle of whiskey down. Those teams are in the Pac-8. They're not in the Big Ten.
Uh-huh.
And of course, now they are.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound strange to be able to say SC and Oregon are members of the Big Ten? Woody Hayes is turning over in his grave. So for me, that is without a doubt the game to watch. But it's soon, and the week after, all of a sudden, it's going to be the 28th, and we've got some dandies. I mean, it's Ohio State and Michigan, Texas and Texas A&M. We've got some traditional ones and some good ones coming up.
Yeah, I agree with you. This SC Oregon, they're kind of both fighting for a spot in the playoffs, right? So to me, it's a de facto elimination game. Certainly, if the Trojans lose, they're fighting for trying to. Right now, they're on the outside, likely on the outside looking in. But the Ducks, they're on the cusp. So don't you think it's a loser goes home in terms of postseason playoff tournament possibilities?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And especially SC is knocking at the door. Okay. So we'll just find out how, and this will, after watching Indiana play so physical against Oregon in the second half. Let's see if that can happen twice.
Yeah.
Now I think the Ducks are a real fine team. I will be surprised if SC can beat them.
Yeah, SC's got a real fine quarterback. He looks like he's got the goods to me. So we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be a great game up in Oregon, up in Eugene, Oregon. So it's a tough place to play on the road. And SC's been a bit of a road warrior. They just took care of business. We'll see what happens. But they were at Nebraska a few weeks ago. That was a close game, a 4-game win. Lost to Notre Dame. I mean, they lost at Illinois. I mean, they've struggled on the road. So we'll see. I agree with you. It looks like it's Oregon's game to likely win, but that's why they play the game, right?
Right. Well, when you look at what SC's done on the road, okay, they won in West Lafayette, beating Purdue, but they lost a close one at the University of Illinois.
Right.
And then they lost at Notre Dame. Okay, well, that's nothing to be ashamed of, but they won at Nebraska. So, how good of a road team are you? And I don't think any coach gets overjoyed at going, oh boy, we get to go to Eugene and play the Ducks. So, and if I have my facts straight, College Game Day is this Saturday, is at Oregon. And that's always fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, it's always a big party when they come to town. That's for sure. Awesome, TJ. Anything else about this week, or do you want to turn a corner and talk about TJ's potpourri?
Well, let's do it just very briefly, the potpourri.
Okay.
I love writing for the journal, and I go back, I did a couple of stats here, and I draw attention to, and it's strange. The head coach of the Jets is a former defensive back in the NFL who was a good player. Aaron Glenn was a fine defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
And here he's trying to get his feet wet as a head coach. Teams have attempted 302 passes against the Jets this year, and the Jets have not intercepted a pass.
Wow.
I mean, the first thing it's wow. It's the first thing that comes to my mind. How is that possible? So I draw attention to that in my column. And there's a couple other aspects I go to. But this coming weekend is an anniversary of two teams. And when the game happened in 1969, nobody realized where it was going to be. The Steelers played the Vikings. And Pittsburgh won opening day over Detroit, and now they are in this long, long losing streak. And Chuck Noll is in his first year as head coach, and he knows that he has a roster. And Andy Russell details this, where most of these guys are not going to be Steelers for very long. And then you have the flip side. Bud Grant comes in, and by his second year, the Vikings are a playoff team. Well, they lose a game opening day to the Giants. They probably shouldn't have. But since then, they are becoming a machine. And though they lead the league in points, one of the main reasons they lead the league in points is how good their defense is. So I draw attention to that game historically. And to finish off with it, who knew? Anybody watching that game in November of 69, would anybody have projected that 5 years later in Tulane Stadium, the Vikings are going to play the Steelers in the Super Bowl? So it's almost like where are they then, and then where are they headed to?
Yeah. You don't know what history is going to unfold as athletes and teams and coaches move forward, let alone Chuck Noll and Bud Grant.
Bud Grant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about two of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
And, I'm watching this, and I've heard a little bit about Bud Grant. I don't even know who Chuck Noll is, and I'm not sure even Pittsburgh Steelers fans knew who Chuck Noll is. But now anybody who knows the history of those teams, I mean, they are icons, and deservedly so.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy doing it in the journal, going back in time and picking a game. And the last little nugget from this, the Vikings were not able to practice that week. And Bud Grant is a stickler for practice. It's November in Minnesota, and the rumor is it can get cold up in Minnesota in November.
Yeah.
And there's snow they have a tarp on the field, and there's snow on it, but then it rains and it freezes. So they can't get the damn tarp off the field because it's so heavy. And it shows, and I'm reading the different columns online historically. So the Vikings literally don't practice all week and then go out there and put a 52 on the Steelers.
Wow, a 50 burger on the Steelers. Back then, that was really something. You didn't see a whole lot of that. Well, let's bring it back to present day. I mean, in the NFC North, we've got your cuddly Chicago Bears sitting in first place at 7-3. Meanwhile, the Vikes are struggling a little bit with young J.J. McCarthy at the helm. And over in the AFC North, the Steelers are also in first place, but a lot of folks have a lot of questions about the Steelers and how legitimate they actually are. What are you seeing, TJ?
Well, Minnesota, can everybody take a step back and let Mr. McCarthy get developed here?
No, you can't do that. No, hell no. No, what are you, crazy? You can't do that. He's got to be ready right now.
Gosh.
Right now, you got to be ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, he was well coached in college by a hell of a coach, and I think he's going to be a fine NFL quarterback. He's got an excellent head coach. Let's just all calm down a little bit. Now, is he playing well? No, not particularly. Are they in a tough division? You already stated that. Yes, it's not a real pleasant year for the Vikings, but that doesn't mean I mean, they hate Green Bay. So what would be better for the Vikings this Sunday than to go to Lambeau Field and knock the Packers off? And Coach LaFleur is a little bit under the gun. Oh, so that game, talk about intensity. They hate each other.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about Green Bay and the Bears as this rivalry. Well, maybe once upon a time it was, but every Viking and Packer fan, and knowing people that have worked for both organizations, they just despise each other. Now, as for Pittsburgh, they go to Chicago this week. Now, you talk about a fascinating game, and I'm a fan of both teams. So I'm headed to the sports bar to watch. Well, my gosh, look at what we have in front of us. People are not big on Pittsburgh. I'm still not convinced they're as good as I thought they would be back at the beginning of the season, but they are in first place.
They absolutely are. And one thing to note is Aaron Rodgers. Mr. Rogers has had his way in the Chicago Bears neighborhood since Hector was a pup. It's been going on a long time that Aaron Rodgers takes the Bears down. We'll see what happens this Sunday. Anything else on the coming week that we should talk about, or should we call it a show here?
No, I think we're good. I can ramble on about Pittsburgh and Chicago forever, and then we'd have the audience out there sleeping. So
we don't want that.
We don't want that.
No, I don't think they're sleeping. I think hopefully they're entertained. Thank you, TJ. Thanks, folks, for joining us. And thank you to Cheez-It and PopTarts for sponsoring the College Football Podcast from College Press Box. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week. So long.